Good morning, people of the universe. Welcome. Some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you are very in-depth, and it will require your 100% focus and, more importantly, your presence. 100%. Because some of the things that I will share with you is not really for your human mind. It's not for the thinking mind, but you will feel what I'm saying to you, and it will feel like you've always known it, because the part of you that I wish to speak to you today is the part of you that already knows this. Not knows it intellectually, that's not what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to the part of you that knows this to the point that has the ability to be it and to live it. Because the intellectual part of you would just know it, it would understand it to some level, but it can't live it. It can't be that. It's always chasing that. It's not being love, if you like. It's always doing something to be loved. It's very different. I'm not here to influence you. I'm here to speak to a part of you that knows this. That might sound a little bit way out there, but trust me, you'll know what I'm talking about, because throughout, as I begin to speak, as I begin to share what I've got to share with you, you will experience what I like to call snap, crackle, and pops. Okay, yes, no, I'm not talking about Cocoa Pops, but it feels like there's a snap, there's a crack, and there's little pops, there's just little realizations. You will feel what I'm saying. Sometimes you'll just feel emotional for no reason. Sometimes you might have tears for no reason. Sometimes you might feel angry, and you're not sure why you're feeling angry. This is what I like to call the snap, crackle, and pop. You're sitting here, you're completely present. You're not trying to listen to what I'm saying, but you're more feeling what I'm saying. You're listening to where the words are forming from, rather than trying to understand how what I'm saying is true or not true, and how it fits into your paradigm, your reality. Look, let me be honest, it probably won't. Some of the things that I will share with you, you probably never heard. And if you've heard it, you've never heard it from the space that it's being delivered from. I promise you that. Don't take my word for it. Just be present and feel what's being said. As I speak and share with you, I'm going to refer to things that are for your human part and things that are for your being part. We are a human being, aren't we? We're not just human, and we're not just a being. We are a human being. So throughout today, I will refer things and go, well, that is what your human part, the human in you is yearning for. The human in you is looking for. And I will refer to a part where it's what your being, it's your being that is referring to. Just to be able to, this I'm just using this so it allows it, what I'm saying to you, to land, to drop in. You don't need to worry about it right now, but I will refer to that. If you want some more reference point of what I'm talking about, the human part is what you see when you look into the mirror. It's what you're experiencing yourself in reality. The being part is what you're experiencing yourself in actuality. Yes, there is actuality and there is reality. Okay, the human part is what measures or interprets your world through your 5 human senses. It's what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, and what you hear. But the being part is using more predominantly your 6th sense. Yes, you could hear, but you're not hearing with these ears. Yes, you could see, but you're not seeing with these eyes. You're seeing with different eyes. So if they're part of you that's going, oh, I think I know what he's talking about. So the being is the super powerful part. So let's disregard the human part. I want to know about the being part. That's your human part that is doing that. It's looking for the better, the more powerful part. It's not. This is a dance between the two. And that's what typically happens. Someone is usually on the path of going and trying to become successful and attaining things, right? It's the human part. And they're climbing the corporate ladder, if you like, or the success ladder. And it's all about your status, your credibility, how safe you feel within your financial status, all that kind of stuff. And what happens is sometimes people don't find what they're looking for in the human part. And the truth is, you're not going to find, if you're looking for yourself or what you're looking for, you're not going to find in one or the other. You're going to find in both. So the people go on this journey and they're climbing the corporate ladder, right? They're climbing the success ladder, and then they don't find what they're looking for, because what happens is they realize that whenever it is they attained what they were looking for, they are left with an empty feeling like it wasn't enough. You needed more. So what they do is they let go of the human needs or the human yearning, because it's different to the human needs. I'm not talking about the human needs. It's the human yearning, and then they go into the being yearning, which is more the soul. So then they become more spiritual. They'll go to India, they'll go to Bali, they'll go to, this ashram and that guru, and they'll just become all spiritual, right? They might wear an orange robe, if that is part of the journey, and they let go of all the things that they thought was important, like all the success. And the thing is, that's not the answer either, because what you're starting to do is you're starting to climb the spiritual ladder, and it's all about becoming awake and alive, and awake. Yeah, it's about waking and becoming conscious. That's the word I was looking for. But it becomes a journey. It becomes not a journey, but a ladder. Same thing as the success or corporate ladder, but now you're climbing the spiritual ladder. And what that's about is becoming more spiritual. And usually, and you're not aware of this at first when you start, it's about becoming more spiritual than everyone else, because then you feel special. You do the loving things, right? You become more loving, right? But really you're not loving, you're actually doing more loving things, so more people will love you. Where over there, you were trying to accomplish more things, become more successful, be in the BRW, whatever. How many things you've attained the gold medal, you won the gold medal, but after you won the gold medal, you're experiencing depression. Over here, it's all about becoming more conscious, more spiritual. And, you point and you see other people and you just think, well, they're not conscious, they don't get it. I get it. Same thing, just different ladder. Now, I will say that it's important to go through that process. I personally went through that process. I went down the success path, then I realized this ain't it. I became very spiritual, and what I typically refer to as being woo-woo. Started becoming there, and let go of all the money. It just it's not about the money, and went down that path of the spiritual path. And I realized that wasn't it either. You probably then say, well, what is it then? If that's not it, you might relate to what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm relating to that. But then what's the answer? It's bringing the two together as one. We go down this path where our attention and awareness is more predominantly encaptured by the external world, which is the human part, the reality. Then we go down this path of our attention and awareness is more on the being part, which is all about the energy, the formless part. And then you start climbing the spiritual ladder, or the consciousness ladder, if you like. And then, but you feel like And the spiritual part is really good because you kind of feel love and you feel all these things and you feel joyful, but you can't attain it, you can't keep it. So you start to think to yourself, well, I can meditate and feel joy and be present, but you can't stay there because then you've got to go back to your reality. I'm in actuality, but now I've got to go back to reality and kind of get back onto the rat race and on the rat wheel. It's about the internal world and the external world coming together as one. It's about your human and your being part coming together as one. That is what I'm here to talk to you about. It doesn't matter if you're dominant on the human part or you're dominant on the being part. Your attention's more on the internal process or your attention's more on the external. It's about bringing the two as one. It's called oneness. Most people think what oneness is you and I are connected. That's what we are, brothers and sisters on this planet. You and I are connected. So that is oneness. That's as good as sitting in front of the mirror and saying to yourself that you love yourself. It's good. It's a good place to start. Yes, it's a good place to start to say that you and I are connected. But that is such surface to what I'm here to talk to you about. Because if you realize you are love, you don't need to sit in front of the mirror and say, I love myself. Why would love need to love itself? It already is love. If you are love, you don't need to love yourself. And just to drop in the oneness thing I was just talking to you about, if you're saying that you and I are connected, we are brothers and sisters, what you're talking about there is duality. That's not oneness. You're saying you and I and everyone is connected. That ain't it. It's a good place to start. Just like it's a good place to start to sit in front of the mirror and say, I love myself. It's not about being positive. Hey, good place to start. Be positive. If someone was being negative, I would coach them about being positive. But that ain't it either. Because you can't keep being positive, can you? Because if you just keep being positive, all you're doing is suppressing the negative. It ain't it. It's about bringing the positive and negative together. It's about bringing the internal world and the external world together as one. So, let's start by talking about energy. So, you probably, if you've seen me speak or share things on my social media, I speak a lot about being infinite. And I say really we're only pretending to be limited because who we truly are is infinite. Now, some people may relate to that and say, yeah, well, I know who we truly are. Like out there somewhere in the universe, yes, we are infinite, but I'm not. That's what most people would, if you relate to what I'm saying, when I'm saying you are infinite, you go, yes, somewhere. There's a part of me, and it depends what you believe. There's a part of me that's infinite, and I can tap into that part or put things out there into the universe, because the universe is infinite, but little old me is not infinite. Little old me is just a drop of the ocean. The ocean is infinite. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you. Now, It's a tricky thing, because if it's just your human part that's listening, you'll go, I'm infinite, and you misinterpret what there is to be said. You have to get the complete picture. So let's have a quick conversation. Let's have a conversation about what infinity is. And look, I'm not looking for a scientific answer. I'm just looking for you to kind of ask yourself the question: what does infinity feel like? And what does it look like? You might say, well, you can't see it because infinity is formless. Good point. You can't see it with these eyes. I get it. But what is infinite? When something is infinite, and again, I don't have the feedback that I normally have, so I'll tell you what most people tell me, because I've delivered this program hundreds, if not thousands of times. What typically happens the feedback that people give to me is that, well, if they say, well, something's infinite, you've got infinite power to do whatever you want. That ain't it. That is how the human mind interprets it. Because the human mind is looking for power to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. You know, you say that, people say, well, if you quit your job, or if you won $1 million or $1 billion these days, $1 million is not enough anymore, you won the lottery, what would you do? I just want to do nothing and just do whatever I want, whenever I want. That ain't it. Guaranteed you're going to fall into depression. Yes, you will do that for a little while until you hit the wall, until the floor disappears and you're like, that wasn't it. When you say something is infinite, it has no boundaries. It has no parameters. There is no beginning and there is no end to it. It was never born. It never dies. Just to throw that one in there as well. Yes, it's full power. It's full energy. But within that full energy, and this is what most people, when we do a little bit of a brainstorm with people, they'll come and say, when you say something's infinite, you say that all is possible. Now, the human mind grasps that all is possible as what? All that I perceive that I want is possible. You see, when you say all is possible, it means all is possible. Everything that you can perceive and conceive in your mind is possible. Some people are like, yeah, I'm liking that, and failure is possible. Success is possible. All is possible. All is possible. Everything that your mind can conceive is possible. Even the failure, even the rejection, but also the success, also the love. So what I'm trying to say to you is that the reason why most people can't grasp infinite energy or can't use the infinite energy, because they are using their infinite energy to see one part. You see, I always talk about, and today, this module of the WTF experience is dedicated to finding your certainty in the uncertain. What I'm trying to get you to grasp here is that infinite energy, how does it feel like? It feels that all is possible, and if all is possible, all is uncertain. All is possible feels like it's uncertain, but as you become aware, as your awareness expands to this infinite energy, you find certainty amongst the uncertain. You find a knowing in the unknown. Why is it uncertain? Because infinite is formless. Infinite energy is formless. It's not physical form. It's energy. Yes, that energy then forms, and that's what we call manifestation. The infinite energy, which is a formless, which is the actuality that I'm talking about, forms itself and becomes what you perceive to be reality. If some of this is going over your head, just hang in there, guys. There's a part of you that is grasping what I'm saying to you. We started just to talk a little bit about oneness before. And I said most people's idea of what oneness is you and I are connected. And I said, that ain't it. I mean, it's a good place to start, right? Infinity is oneness. Oneness is infinite. But we have this thing called duality, which is what you and I experience in the physical realm, in our reality. Duality means of everything there's two. You're over there, I'm over here, and we are experiencing this reality, and we can understand it in duality. There's right, there's wrong, there's good, there's bad, there's in, there's out, there's up, there's down, there's hot, there's cold. There's internal, there's external, of everything there's two. So that's why when we grasp or try to get our minds around oneness, we say, oh, oneness is you and I are connected. No. Oneness is you are the one. You see, you and I being connected is two. Here's the thing. You can't have two infinite energies. How can you? Because if you think about it, and stay with me, guys, this will land as we go along. I'm breaking it down for you. I'm dissecting it for you. Just stay with me. You can even understand what I'm about to say to you. How can you ever have two infinites? Remember, infinite means there's no parameters. There's no beginning or end. For there to be two infinites, one infinite has to have a beginning and an end. And then the other infinite has to also have a beginning and an end. And therefore, they are not two infinites, because if you have a beginning and end, what you are is finite. Finite energy. You're not infinite energy. So if we're talking about infinite energy, there's only one. It's your misinterpretation that there is two. And it's just how the human understands, because the human part of you lives and perceives its reality through duality. Which is fair enough. We're not changing that. There's a beautiful thing that's taking place here, which we'll get to. Again, I'll say it. Most people's interpretation is you and I are connected. That's what oneness means. No. What you're describing there is two finite beings, right? Perceiving oneness. When you're experiencing oneness, there is no you and I. There is you as the one. Now, you think to yourself, you're having a what the fuck moment already? You think to yourself, well, but I experience myself as two. Yes, you're meant to. There is your human part and there's your being part. Why do you think you came here? Ever asked yourself that question? Because I did. I continue to ask myself that question. Why am I here? Did I come here to get a job, to grow a business, to make a living, to survive, to work for a living? It just didn't make sense for me. Why did you come here? Why are you alive? Let me ask you a question. I can't answer that question of why you're here, because the answer I give to you, although I do know the answer I give to you becomes a version of the answer. Because everything that I share with you right now is from the unknown. I don't plan what I'm going to say. Nothing. I don't know. And you think to yourself, but you've shared this program so many times. I share the truth so many times. It's different every single time. And when I say truth, please understand, that does not refer to religion whatsoever. I'm talking about energy. I feel what I need to say, and when I feel it, I know it's true. The moment I say it, it becomes a version of the answer, because words are part of the form. If you look for the truth in form, you won't find it. You need to peel the layers. You need to pull the curtain aside of what you're actually seeing. In other words, you need to see what moves the form. If you watch a tree move, right? The tree doesn't move. It's the wind that moves the tree. You see the world taking place in front of you. You need to see what moves the world. You won't grasp what I'm saying until you can see that. I'm here to ask you questions and see that you can realize what I realize for myself. I can't tell you. That's why they always say nobody can tell you what the truth is, because you can't put it into words. But I'm very good at asking you the right questions and speaking from the feeling, just to get you to feel what I'm saying to you at least. That's my niche. That's what I'm good at. So here's my question to you. If something is infinite, like, you got to understand, something that's infinite doesn't need anything, right? I mean, we get that. Ask yourself the question. It doesn't need, if it's infinite, it doesn't need anything. It can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. That's how the human interprets it, right? The human mind. It can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. But what's the one thing an infinite can't have? Now, that's incorrect what I'm saying to you. I get it. Because we just said it can have whatever it wants. Because it's infinite. But there's one thing. There is one thing an infinite being cannot have. Give you time just to ponder on that for a sec. another infinite being. Now, it's impossible for it not to have another infinite being if it wanted to, because it's an infinite being. But how would it have another infinite being? Do you get that? I hope you get that. If you don't, rewind and watch this later on when I give you the copy of the recording. An infinite being can only be one. There's no beginning or end. For there to be two infinite beings, there needs to be a beginning and end. Where in your reality or in your understanding or in your perception can you see where there's two? Where in the world, in your reality, in the universe, can you see two? You think it's me talking to you right now? You think it's Amir, the young man sitting in this chair that talks to you? Right in front of you, open your eyes. You're in duality. You see, let me give you a metaphor. I talked about before the drop in the ocean because it's the perfect thing to use as this metaphor. The ocean is the infinite. A drop of the ocean is the finite, is what you perceive to be you. In fact, better yet, let's not talk about drops. Let's talk about an iceberg. What's the ocean? The ocean is liquid, isn't it? And it's a perfect metaphor for this because you look out the ocean, as far as your eyes can see, it just extends. I mean, there's so much ocean. So the ocean is the infinite. When I refer to infinite, I'm referring to formless energy. Really, that's what energy is. I don't have to say formless. Energy is formless. But I say formless because later on you realize energy is also form. But just for now, it's just energy, right? The ocean is the liquid. Now, the ocean can take shape and manifest itself into what? A solid. Over here, I just spoke to you about the energy can take shape and manifest itself from the energy into form, what we know as physical form. The ocean manifests itself into a solid. How does it do that? It freezes a part of itself and creates the iceberg. The iceberg begins to believe that who it is the iceberg. It starts to look at its parameters. It has a beginning and an end. As they say, 10% of the iceberg sticks outside into the surface above the ocean. 90% of the iceberg is floating underneath the ocean. What's the iceberg made from? The ocean. Where is the ocean? Where is the iceberg? It's amongst the ocean. It is not only floating in the ocean, it is part of it. It is the ocean. It's just changed its frequency. What's it changed its frequency from? From the liquid to the physical form, to the iceberg. The iceberg is what you perceive to be. It's not really who you are. You're pretending to be limited. Because who you really are is the ocean. You get, just in case you just joined me, I'm talking about a metaphor here, okay? I'm not saying you're the ocean. I'm using the ocean as infinity, as an infinite energy. Remember, I said to you, the one thing that an infinite being cannot have is another infinite being. Now, you might ask, because again, I know the questions that goes through people's heads. I've done this program many times. But why would it want another infinite being? Like, when you ask that, you're conditioned so much in your head to only do what you need to do that you don't understand that when you say, why would it want it to do it? It doesn't need it. We said it doesn't need to do that. An infinite being doesn't need to do that. So if you took need away in all the things that you need to do in your life, sometimes you're in a job because you need to be. Sometimes you're in a relationship because you need to be. Sometimes you're being a certain way and showing up and you're not being yourself because you need to be. The mind is so conditioned to do what it needs to do that it doesn't understand that if you took need away from me, then what would I do? You would do what you love to do. If you no longer needed to, you would do it because you love to. Is that too far stretched for you to comprehend? Is it been that long that you have really, truly done what it is that you love to do that doesn't have an agenda, you don't have an agenda for, and you don't have a reason for? When's the last time you've done what you really love to do? No reason, no agenda, because you guys are smart, right? I don't need to tell you that love doesn't have an agenda. I don't need to tell you that love doesn't have a reason. Do you think I love my children because of a reason or because of an agenda? Am I already thinking about for when I'm older, maybe they'll look after me? No. You don't love your children for reasons. There's no reasons. In fact, you never decided to love them. The love was already there. Has it been that long that you've done something that you love to, that you didn't need to? Why would the infinite being want another infinite being? Because it loves to. My child, Orlando, he loves to go play in his toy room. We have a toy room for him. He gets more excited if there's someone else to play with him, though. Why? So what you got to grasp, what I'm saying to you, is that although the infinite being, we said that the one thing an infinite being cannot have is another infinite being. But it's an infinite being, so if it really wants another infinite being, it would create or manifest that reality. So, what do you have in the iceberg? What do you have in the ocean? You have another iceberg. You have another iceberg. And the two icebergs come together. They are floating in the ocean. They are part of the ocean. They are the ocean. They're just pretending, or their understanding, awareness is where their boundaries begin and end, the shape of their reality, and they go, I am this iceberg. But they feel there's something more. And they're like, there's got to be something more to this. Why do they feel that? Because they're sitting in the bloody ocean. They can sense it. They just can't see it. They're sitting in an ocean of infinite possibilities. They just can't see it. Because what they see is only through the humanness, if that's a word, that's not a word, but only through the human self. And they understand that who they are is the iceberg. But they sense that there's something more. So they will say, you and I are connected. The icebergs are talking to each other and saying, you and I are connected. Not only are you connected, you are the same. You are the one ocean So there is no you and I. Have you not experienced this in your reality before? Is it so far stretched? What about when you have a dream? Do you not dream that in your dream, you're having a dream, there's other people in your dream? There's you in your dream, and then you have interactions with other people. Maybe other people might be, I don't know, supporting you. Maybe they will be causing you hurdles or harm. There's other people in your dream. Who are the other people in your dream? It's you. But in the dream, now I know, but that's a dream, Amir. Can you get down to earth? That's a dream. Yes, that's a dream. And I hope that one day you wake up from the dream you're currently having. You think, I love watching children's movies or children's songs because they put all the clues in their movies and stuff. Like Kung Fu Panda and, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. There's only one energy, and you are it. I know you think you're the iceberg, but you need to not only look within, because the iceberg is 90% underneath the water. Not only do you need to look within, when you look within, you need to look without. You need to expand your awareness and notice that there is an actuality. There is a, I won't call it a world because you perceive that I'm saying there's another world. But there is another existence outside of form. Do you know that a fish doesn't know it's swimming in the ocean? It doesn't know that. Just like most humans don't know that they are swimming in a sea of infinite possibility. So it's important for me to, I guess, reveal that to you. Anyone who's done the WTF experience in the past will know that I don't start with that. We start with more light things. But this day and age, I'm a little bit more, let's say, impatient, and I just want to give it to you straight. I know I should tell you how you should be positive first and how everything has a balance. And we work our way up straight to the big one. But I think you're big enough to start with the big one. But that's oneness, my friends. Oneness is what you experience as yourself being the one. Now, there is other people in your reality, yes, but you are connecting to yourself in them. You love other people, maybe you hate other people, but you hate yourself in them, or you love yourself in them. That's why I said, do you really think it's Amir speaking to you right now? Maybe it's you. Maybe you wanted to hear this. Maybe this is how you grasp something like this. It has to come from someone else. Perceived someone else.